Hey there, you found Off the Water, the premier kayak fishing show for the Gulf Coast. We interview the best anglers to find out what they did, where they went, and what they used. Fishing reports, cool products and accessories, upcoming kayak tournaments, kayak safety, rigging tips and tricks, sponsor highlights, club member specials, and more, all on Off the Water, live and podcast. And now, here's your host of Off the Water, Mr. Sean Rastanis. Hey there, you found Off the Water, the premier kayak fishing show for the Gulf Coast. We interview the best anglers to find out what they did, where they went.
Oh, there we are. Couple technical difficulties out there. Y'all can hear me out there okay? Breck, John, Ryan? All right, great. Welcome, guys, to a special championship edition, Angler of the Year edition, end of the year edition, but not quite, for Off the Water. Day before Thanksgiving. Thanks for everyone for coming on. We got a lot of stuff to go over tonight. We got some great interviews with some people who did really well this past weekend despite some miserable conditions. We've got to go over some Angler of the Year stuff, championship stuff, obviously, and of course, the announcement for next year. Everyone's been waiting for that. Maybe we'll get to a raffle or something later on. Let me see if my phone might be screwing things up. Let me go ahead and bring John Carter on here as a co-host tonight. John is joining us from – how far out are you, John?
Way out in the Gulf.
Way out in the Gulf. You,
like 120 miles.
The trout, are they biting out there? Or?
If they are biting, the tuna are probably going to get a hold of them before they get anything else.
That's true. That's true. I mean, the trout are they were a little tough this past weekend. Apparently they're still there. I know Scott Myers was out in Hopedale today, caught a really nice stringer, some nice trout. I know Chuck Miller was out there. He also caught some nice trout today. So it was a beautiful day to fish. I had preteen and teenage duties, running them to the mall and everywhere else. So, you missed what is quite possibly like the second worst championship tournament that we had. So you didn't miss much, at least from my perspective, other than getting to congratulate a few of my friends and seeing some new faces up there on the award stand. And that was really good to see.
It broke my heart flying out of Homa that morning, knowing that everybody was going to be traveling down to Cocodrie that very next day, but it's all good. Duty calls.
You know what you still don't have? This right here. One of the most comfortable championship shirts we've had. It's that real soft material. I didn't even dry it. I pulled it out the washer after I wore it 4 times, and I just dried it by a hanger because it was so soft that it didn't want to ruin the softness.
You still got my shirt, right?
There's a box over here. I don't know if it's got Jonathan Carter's shirt in it, though.
I think I only asked about 100 times.
Yeah. Well, so look, we got some people coming on. We got lots to cover tonight. And I know one guy here, Ryan, does not have a laptop or an iPad. He's using his phone. We're going to add him in real quick and talk a little bit to him. And then a little bit later, we're going to have Breck Hotard come on. He's in. And I invited Derek Douglas as well and Butch Ridgedale. Hopefully we'll get them on. Obviously, Josh Red, if you're out there watching, feel free to call in. I've put the link up there. But let's go ahead and bring on the man of the hour, Mr. Ryan Alamon. Ryan, I'm confused because you're in a garage. I mean, what's going on here? You should have your own fishing studio at this point.
Man, look, I'm trying to avoid the 3-year-old and the 1-year-old that's inside, like ready to eat. So I gotta go cook the redfish right after this.
All right. Well, we'll get you on, and then you could jet off if you want, or you may want to stay for the raffle. I don't know. So the raffle, of course, will be at the end of the show. So y'all are gonna have to sit through all this bullshit tonight. So again, I forgot. The views expressed herein are solely those of mine and my guests. They do not reflect the views or opinions of any of our sponsors, club members, clubs, anybody else. It's basically me saying stupid shit. So now that we got that over with, you had a hell of a weekend.
Yeah. It was good. It was tough conditions on tournament day for sure, but the day before the band started, I had my buddy Billy out in New Orleans. He had a boat, so I was like, let's just go and let's cover some ground. So we went 2 weeks before, same tidal conditions, and we covered ground. We found clean water. So day before the tournament, I kind of did the same thing, replicated where we went the day and found some clean water, found some good reds, and I was able. The day before was like clear and sunny, so the water warmed up quick. So I was able to get to some ponds and actually see redfish just gorging on shrimp and mullet and just bait fish all over. So that's probably why we caught so many heavy reds, is they were just feeding like crazy once it warmed up. And so I saw some good reds. I left them alone, and then the next day I just went to the same area and blind casted in similar spots, and it paid off.
Yeah, and it's funny because you could get out there and a month out or so, conditions are always completely different from tournament day. So you get up there and we got that ban in obviously on the boat and the motors and everything, even though I have a Torpedo and a boat. I would have loved to use them pre-fishing that day before. We banned it for a reason, but you think, well, a month out, no matter what you find, probably not going to be there a month later, especially when the temperatures drop 30 degrees and the way it is. So you were fortunate to find them in that same area that you found them, that long ago. Yeah,
and like 2 weeks before the tournament, we didn't really find fish. We found really clean water that could see 3 feet down. So I was like, well, it's protected. It was actually water that was protected from a north wind. So I was like, maybe it might still be clean. So that's why I went there the day before just to see.
Yeah.
We found 2 small reds up there pre-fishing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So really didn't find them, but on the Friday, it was an area that had some 20-foot holes and some deep creek bends, and that led up to some little shallow creeks that led into some ponds. And the day before, it warmed up to like 6 degrees in those ponds, and they weren't in there until about 11:30 the day before. So, I mean, I just kind of waited till the water warmed up on tournament day and just kind of fished in the same areas.
I was really surprised at the water depth and the fact that it was water in the ponds, to begin with. And, did you find fish in the ponds, or were they in like deeper holes?
So the day before they were in the ponds, but tournament day with the cloudy skies and the water never really warmed up above 72 degrees or 52 degrees. So I was actually fishing near the ponds that I saw them in the day before, but in the mouths, kind of where there was like 5 to 6 feet deep. So like right near the mouths of where I found them. And the big one fell to a little white shrimp imitation under a popping cork.
Oh, under a popping. I went so far and I threw. I didn't get a bite. I saw one redfish all day bust the bank, and that was it. I couldn't even scare up a trout. Now you got lucky with how many trout did you end up catching?
I caught 3, but one was like 11 and a half, then 11 and 3/4, and then I finally caught one that was 12 and a half.
Yeah.
Same thing, popping cork under that little white shrimp under the popping cork. The big red fell to that, but that was actually around 10:30. I heard something crash, and I was kind of heading down a canal, and I heard something crash kind of behind me. So I looked back. I thought it was otters because I had multiple otters jump out the day before in the same general area. But I looked over there, nothing, didn't see an otter pop up. And then probably 10 yards further down the bank behind me, another crash. I was like, okay, that's a redfish. So I turned around. I threw some swim baits in front of it. Nothing. Then I just grabbed the popping cork, threw it out there, popped it twice, and then just smoked it. Yeah.
And that red of yours, he went, 9 pounds, I think?
9.23. I didn't think it was that big when I netted it, but man, that thing had a head on it. And I was like, I threw it at the bottom of the ice chest. I was like, we'll see at the weigh-in.
I mean, catching a 9-pound slot red in Cocodrie, that's a big redfish. That is a thick redfish. It was for sure.
I mean, every fish that I caught was fat, and a lot of people caught 7-pounders plus an 8-pounder was weighing. I mean, even my 23.5-inch red went almost 6 pounds. So they were fat.
I saw something on Facebook, and Derek Douglas is joining us. Derek, just hang tight. We're going to get to you and Brett here in a little bit. I saw something on Facebook. Somebody posted a redfish they cleaned. I think they counted 40 shrimp in the belly. 40 shrimp.
Couple pounds of shrimp right there.
That's a couple pounds of shrimp at least, and those were decent sized shrimp. They weren't very small shrimp.
I had
and they were digested. I mean, they were like they were still heads on and everything. It was crazy.
I think the day before the tournament on Friday, they were just feasting because it warmed up like 5 or 6 degrees from the morning because it was sunny and clear. And I saw them feeding on mullet, shrimp, pretty much feeding all day Friday afternoon after about 11 o'clock. And when I cleaned this fish, I gutted open. I took a picture of it. I didn't post it, but I took a picture. It had a crab leg in it. It had about a 6-inch croaker in it. It had mullet. It had shrimp. I mean, it was just stuffed with bait fish and shrimp.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's wild that they, it seemed Friday they were a little bit more active than Saturday, just from some of the reports I was hearing from other anglers. I went, checked out an area south of Cocodrie on Friday and didn't see anything. And so I said, well, I'm not going south. So I went north, went a good ways north, and still didn't see anything. And I covered some ground. And did you find your redfish, were they all pretty much stacked up in one area?
So on Friday, yes. Saturday, I only caught 2 redfish where I saw them on Friday. And then on the way in, so I fished north, kind of on the east side. And I only caught 2 redfish up there, the big one and then like a 19 or 20 inch. So coming back to the launch around noon, 12:30, I was like, man, I need to find an upgrade. And I only had 1 little trout at that point. So coming back in, I hit a little ditch that I had done well in years past. And 5 casts in, I caught my 23.5-inch redfish. And then I probably caught 5 or 6 more redfish in that ditch. And so they were stacked up in that ditch for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, is this your first year fishing the Bayou Coast Championship Series?
The full series, yeah. I fished the minimum challenge multiple times in the past, but the full series, this is the first time. And it all started, Josh Red actually hit me up before Redfish Rumble, and he was like, hey, man, have you ever fished this area? And I had fished multiple times, and I was like, man, I might join you, I'll fish it. And then we pre-fished it, and we saw beautiful redfish, and that ended up with a win for me on that tournament. So I was like, well, now I gotta fish the whole series now. So
right. So you won the championship.
Yeah.
You won Angler of the Year.
Yeah.
In the same year. Only one other person apparently. I made a mistake. I forgot this. Steve won it at Lake Hermitage that year. Steve Lassard. So you're in very good company. Only one other member has won the championship and Angler of the Year in the same year, and that was Steve Lassard. And so that, and you also took back Big Red. Yeah. So I think when I did the calculations, it was close to $3,700 you won on just on Saturday.
That was insane. I mean, that was the biggest payday by far.
That's got to be the biggest payday for Bayou Coast. That's
pretty close to it.
Huh?
Pretty close to it, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Steve won. I think we paid $2,000 that year, plus $1,000, so that was $3,000 for I think that year. So $3,700 in one tournament is pretty good. Yeah. And just to think, we had switched using that kayak in addition to first place to the raffle to raise more money to put towards the championship. You almost would have ended up, if this has been last year, with a brand new Native Slayer kayak as well. It'd have been over $6,000 in cash and prizes for sure. So you got home, you told your wife, what'd she say? What she already made plans for that money?
Oh no. That stays in my PayPal. That's my fishing fund.
I like the way you think.
Yeah. None of us have accounts like that, do we, Jonathan Carter?
Absolutely not. I would never do that.
So are you going to be fishing with us again next year, you think?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you can't take the money and then no one likes that guy at the poker table that wins a big hand and then gets up and leaves. He's gotta come back and put that money back in the pot, give us a chance to win it back a little bit.
I gotta defend.
You gotta defend. Well, I think you're gonna like it next year. I know we're gonna hit a couple places. Lafayette, you guys are fishing. Obviously, Cocodrie is an area that y'all fished for a number of years, and it lined up really well for you. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and bring Mr. Cigar Slim, Mr. Second Place, who was in first place the whole tournament that we thought, holy crap, he blew everybody away until the last freaking weigh-in. Mr. Derek Douglas. How you doing, Derek?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Man, I thought for sure. I said, man, look at this. We're going to have to take that belt out a little bit, add some extra holes in them notches.
Exactly. I was dancing on the inside, man. I was like, oh, yeah, finally.
I mean, you had only 2 fish, 2 reds, and they were 14.44 pounds. I mean, those were some nice reds you caught in those tough conditions.
Oh, yeah. It was, I know that area. I fished it a ton. The morning started off terrible. I was late. I didn't wake up until 5. I didn't lunch until 8.
8?
Yes, 8.
He pulled the old Sean Rastana
trick. I got a speeding ticket on the way down.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, man, what am I doing? So I just went to a hole that I always fish. And they were there, man. I just kept circling the spot, and I just hooked up. I actually caught 5 reds that day, and them last big ones came around about 12 o'clock. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. So I left, went upstairs, got me a couple shots of Jack, came back in my truck, fired up a cigar, and I just waited on everybody, but I had no idea I was that close, honestly.
Honestly, if you had caught 1 or 2 trout, that was, it wasn't the difference here because Ryan had 1 trout, but I don't think it was a pound. I think it was the difference was a 1.1 pounds, but 2 trout probably puts you in first, But I think we only had 3 people weigh in trout that day.
Tough.
I know Jack weighed in trout, Josh weighed in trout, Ryan weighed in trout. I don't think Butch did. I can't remember if Butch did or not, but I think we only had 3 people weigh in trout that day. Yeah. And Jack and Josh both had their limit. So small reds, but they're 5 trout. So Derek, I mean, I know you ended up doing real well. You ended up coming in second and taking home, I think that was $1,500 second place, right?
Right.
Yeah, so not a bad payday. Not a bad payday. What are you doing with that money? Do you also have a PayPal account for your fishing stuff?
Yeah, I have a PayPal account, but I'm just gonna hold that in the kitty. All I told my wife was I won 3 gift cards to Academy. Because she believes it because she's like, I can't believe y'all go out there in plastic and fish in this kind of weather. So
that's right.
In her mind, that makes sense.
The condition, I tell you what I was really surprised about, the weather was supposed to be for crap. I mean, it rained light. It was, like a heavy misting. But the wind really didn't play a factor. I thought we were going to have very low water, very high winds. When I got back, and I think we ended up having 35 people fish the tournament, 11 people weighed in fish. That was maybe double what I thought was going to be weighed in. And I thought we would have a redfish here, a trout here. So you guys did a lot better than I expected with a 15 and a 14-pound stringer. And when I saw your stringer, Derek, I honestly thought, I said, well, that's it. This is it. It's over.
Yeah.
Because you had really 2 solid reds. 14 pounds between 2 reds is pretty solid for Cocodrie and those conditions. So congratulations on that. So you fished, you found all your reds in one spot. They were kind of piled up right there, huh?
In one spot, man, believe it or not, it's, to me, it's all fishing.
Yeah.
I launched and I went straight on the other side of the marsh, on the other side of the embankment over there. And that's, and I knew that's where I was going to go. That's why I've always caught reds in the past. And I was like, I'm going to catch some reds. I hope this turns into a redfish tournament. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
Sure
thought.
did.
That's what I thought it was. And it was essentially was. I mean, the redfish won the tournament. Ryan just happened to find the unicorn of redfish in Cocodrie. I mean, I can't imagine there's maybe a handful of 9+ pound slot redfish in Cocodrie, usually you find those in maybe Delacroix or maybe even Basons certain time of year, but I have to think they were just bellied up. And it's not like, Ryan, remind me, it's not like your tail was just brushing against or right close to that 27-inch line. I mean, it was a clear call. It was short than 27.
It was an eighth of an inch to a quarter of an inch short, but I mean, it was so thick. Like, I put my hand around the tail, and it was so thick. I mean, I put a picture of it. I mean, it was sitting like 8 inches tall. It just shoulders, man. It was fat.
Yeah, it was. And so, Derek, you took you took second place in the championship, and then you took fourth in Angler of the Year with this win. So, excellent job. You had a good year overall. Yeah. Really good year. Yeah.
It's been a lucky year, man. And I was talking to Clayton and Dean, and Mike Smith. They was like, "What you did different?" I said, "Nothing. The same stuff I do every year." Some kind of way the fish was where I was this time, for every tournament. So
did you what'd you catch them on?
Texas roach.
Okay.
I'm a Texas roach, Berkeley gulp, curly tail dude, like no matter what. And those were the two I've been playing with all year. Those are the two. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, look, let's do this. Let's go ahead and bring third place guy on right here. He's been waiting in there. I know he's had a rough day so far. Mr. Breck Hotard, how you doing, sir?
Doing good.
How are you feeling?
I'm a little tired. I just ate dinner. Everything went smooth. For the procedure. Yeah. So we get some sleep tonight and eat a bunch tomorrow because I haven't eaten in 2 days.
Rest up.
Yeah. Can I tell them or is that private? I won't tell them if it's private.
Well, it's something that everybody's got to get done once they turn 50.
You know what's funny? I won't tell them what happened to you, but today I got a phone call from Oshner, and they're like, we're calling to schedule your colonoscopy. I'm like, oh, man. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Y'all couldn't have waited until after to tell me?
Well, I had a little emergency a couple weeks ago, had some internal bleeding, and then I rushed myself to the emergency room. So I spent the night in the hospital for the last 2 scouting days for our championship. So I was kind of stuck so the only day I had to go scout was Friday. So I decided I'm just going to fish near the launch, and that's what I did. I stayed within 4 miles of the launch.
Well, that's not really near the launch, right?
What's that?
That's not really near the launch, okay? Near the launch is staying within
I just kept moving. But Friday, I wound up catching a few redfish, and I did catch a couple of trout, but they were very, very scarce around the area. And but Friday, I caught an 8.5 pound red, and I left that spot. I was like, I'm not going back to it. I'm gonna save that for Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I had caught about 2 more in that one area, and I was probably a block from the launch.
A block from the launch?
Yeah, about a block away from the launch. I wasn't.
I think so.
Yeah, so I left. I actually took a chance Friday, and Saturday, but Friday I broke my idler cable on my drive. So I was kind of like I could move around, but I didn't have the drive. I didn't have any thrust with it. It took me forever to get to A to B.
Yeah.
So luckily I was able to borrow a drive, and I took a chance, and I was like, well, I'm going to keep going. I'm gonna move away from the launch and get to some protected water and see if I can catch some trout first, and then head back. And when I got to that area, all of a sudden I got bit, but I could not get the hook in them. They were ticking the bait, and I tried several times, and it just died off in this one little area. So by the time we got there, man, it was like 12:30. I was like, we need to start heading back because I gotta see if I can make something happen.
Yeah.
So when I got close back to the launch, it was literally 1:30, and I made 10 casts, and I caught 2 of my reds.
Wow. Wow.
It was that fast. Yeah. And I mean, like every redfish I caught from 23 above, scouting wise, they're all hammers. They were super fat. Every one of them.
That seems to be the common thing. They were just, I am shocked, honestly, that we're this late November and there are shrimp still in the marsh. I mean,
yes.
I mean, usually November, they're out by then, but they are still in there, and that's quite unusual. So Breck, you also had a really good year. I mean, you took 3rd place for the championship. You took 3rd place in Angler of the Year. So I know you walked home with $1,000, I think, was the payout for 3rd place for the championship. And I forget, it was $150, I think, in Academy gift cards.
Yeah, I think it was 150. Yes.
Yeah, 150 for Angler of the Year for 3rd place. Normally it's just we normally only award 1st place in Angler of the Year, but this year we had Academy come on board, and Academy is very generous with the club. And they provided a lot of gift cards that we had some left over, and we decided to use that to pay out 2 through 5 for Angler of the Year to, really kind of give them something. I mean, look, there's always something at Academy that we can all use. I mean, whether it's fishing or hunting, crawfish, pots and pans, and all kinds of great stuff. So, let me just run through real quick. The champion, Ryan Alamon, obviously 1st place, 15.54 pounds. Derek Douglas, 2nd place, 14.44 pounds. And realizing these are mostly all redfish at this point. Brett Cotard, 12.36. Butch Ridgedale at 60-something years old, getting it done still, 10.45 pounds. Josh Red at 9.89 pounds. So great tournament, guys. I know the conditions were tough. Let me ask each of you, Derek, I know you didn't stay there the night before. Ryan, when did you come up?
I came up Friday morning.
You came up Friday morning. Derek, you didn't stay at the marina that night, right?
Nah, I should have.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah.
Ryan, what did you think of Coco Marina and everything? I mean, they've got it running and restaurant open and everything. It's been great.
It's definitely better than when we stayed down there when Lafayette Kayak Fishing Club had their March Madness tournament for years back. It's definitely in a lot better shape. So I liked it.
They had a DJ Thursday night. They had a live band Friday night that was really good. I mean, he played such a broad selection of music. The bar was open. Everybody, the whole wait staff was real nice. The bartenders, the waiters, the food was real good. I think I ate there twice. I found the food was really good. The fried crab fingers, the fried alligator, etc. So let me just put this up here. Oh, look, we had another guest join us. We're going to bring on Old Stick real quick. See what he has to say. There he is. How you doing there, Old Stick? So Butch, you had a good year in Bayou Coast this year. I mean, obviously you took what was it, 4th place at the championship, but you also placed really well in some events. I think you won Trout Challenge, right?
Yeah,
one Trout Challenge with just some monster trout. I mean, what an awesome stringer you had. I forget how many inches, a 5 trout stringer, how many inches you had? 93, 94?
92, 6 inches.
Yeah. So it was a really nice stringer.
Big bag.
Defying all odds, fishing down in Grand Isle in late freaking October, or maybe it was November. I don't remember where we're at now. But just who knew the big trout were still gonna be down there, those kind of numbers. So Butch, tell us about your championship day. I know you fished Cocodrie many times with Lafayette Club.
Yes, and the last 3 times I'd fished Cocodrie, I'd scratched zeros. So I'm very confident. I scouted Friday, went over to Deep Saline, a couple other places, found beautiful water, no fish. So actually I talked to Steve Lassard. Me and him were kind of game planning some stuff. Talked about a couple of areas.
That's funny because me and Steve were also game planning some stuff Friday night.
Well,
all the olds were getting together.
I was it was a dead end canal that had an opening on the opposite end, had a shell reef, and the wind was blowing water through there. I'd fished about a mile of area going into it down one canal. Got to this area, first cast in there, I lost a fish, and I was just like, man, I hope I wasn't the only one. I probably caught 25 redfish right there. That's
unbelievable.
2 foot of water.
You may have caught more fish at that one spot than everybody in the tournament together.
Right.
Caught a lot of overs. I think I caught an over that I probably could have shrunk that I just released. But, that's part of it. Caught some nice fish. Left the area, went up to Deep Saline looking for some trout. Came back. I couldn't get that second good keeper. I had a 26 and a half that went 7.69. And I couldn't get anything over 20, 21 inches after that. And just, couldn't get that second good bite.
Man, that's still, it was a tough day. You found them. You finished with almost 10 and a half pounds with 2 fish. With the damn conditions, though, were you surprised that the water was A, as clean as it was, and B, as high as it was? Not that it was super high, but considering the conditions, I don't really feel that the water had any effect on where I was able to go Saturday.
I was really surprised. Thursday afternoon, Josh Red had drove down, just went early, and he sent me a picture. A group of us a picture, said, "Hey man, we got water," and and that's really strange. Talked to a couple of people and said, "Oh, it's all going to be gone by Saturday," and it wasn't. I think the water was actually a little bit higher Saturday morning than it was Friday.
Yeah,
and I had no problems going to the spots I wanted to go. Like I said, I caught all my fish on my favorite bait, Jonathan. not the trout bait, but the redfish bait. I caught all my fish on that, and caught them on a popping cork and just fishing it conventional on a jig. And it was just, they were in there. I mean, I would catch it. Sometimes it would be like 5 fish every cast.
Wow.
They were all 16 to 18 inch fish. Then I caught a 30, I caught a 29, I had a 27 and a quarter, a 27 and a half that I turned loose, but it was a big, thick fish like Ryan's. I mean, it was just massive tail, big shoulders. I regret now not bringing the fish in, hoping it would have made it, but threw it on the board. It was over. I said, okay, I'll let you swim another day, guys. Let me see if I can find something else. But
and you were convinced that there were no slot reds in Cocodrie.
Well, you hear all kind of rumors.
Especially when you start them.
It works. What can I say?
So look, we're gonna look here real quick at Angler of the Year. First place, Mr. Ryan Halamon. Second place, Mr. Josh Red. The guy loves beer. He can also do a little bit of fishing. Third place, again, Mr. Breck Hotard. Breck, you've been teetering close to that AOY the last year or two. I got a feeling it's in your cards. You just need 1 or 2 things to fall right for you, and it's going to be right there for you. I think it's gonna happen for you sooner than later. Fourth place, Derek Douglas, and fifth place, Robert Burkhart. This tournament kind of helped him out, weighing in some fish and all that. So, guys, feel free to stay on with us because right now we're going to hop over. It's already 8 o'clock. I try to keep this under an hour or until the wine runs out, which very rarely happens. But we are going to announce the 2023 Bayou Coast schedule, and I've been waiting to do this for a while. So let's start off with our first tournament of the year. We are going back to Leeville Public Launch for Minimalist. It's been 2 long years. We had COVID, and we had to split it up, and then we had Ida, and we couldn't launch there. And so finally, after 3 years, this is, for some ungodly known reason, in the championship series, it's our best attended tournament of the year. It's a shotgun launch out of Leeville. This year, I can tell you this. I can't tell you what the baits are, but I can tell you we're going local this year. So we will have some local bait manufacturers, some guys we've already talked to. We've already got a couple baits selected that are going to be contributing the lure selections this year. Obviously, for Minimalist, we limit it. I think this year we'll probably limit it to 125. That number could fudge a little bit, but 125. Bayou Coast paid members will have the option to sign up first, and then if they don't sell out by a certain date, usually 2 weeks before, then it'll open to the public. And so that registration should be open soon. That will be a weigh-in tournament. So we're going to do a weigh-in. It'll be a combination of redfish, trout. We usually do flounder, and don't quote me on this. Maybe we'll throw in a sheepshead or something like that this year, because no one ever catches a flounder in January. Because we're lowering the limits a little bit. We used to have full limits. Over the years, we've gone down on the limits to a couple redfish, a few trout. And so, no one's going to miss a sheepshead at the pond. We'll see. Well, it's not decided yet. Okay, next tournament is going to be Trout Challenge, April 15th, 2023. What we're doing with this one, it's going to be in Hopedale, the Shell Beach area, Pips, but also Lake Pontchartrain is going to be in play. So, you get some big girls out there that time of year. All depends on the lake. If the lake's calm and you could go troll the trestles or the bridges, might be a good spot for you. If not, then you're going to be able to hit the dam. You're going to be able to hit Pips. All those places will be in play. That'll be April 15th, 2023, and that should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll get to see some big trout. We will have an awards ceremony. More likely than not, that will be a catch photo and submit tournament. You can keep them if you like, but we're also going to have where you can submit the fish just in case people start catching some big trout, probably a 5-fish tournament there. Next tournament, not in the championship series, but it will be Paddlepalooza. Going back to Grand Isle, had a really good fall and tide there this year. May 6, 2023. I tell you guys,
that's going to be phenomenal fishing.
This was maybe the best year for flounder. Not in the numbers caught, but the size of the flounder caught this year. We had maybe 2 that were submitted under 15. I think the total number of flounder submitted were 26, and we had 23 slams, I think. And we had a bunch of big flounder. I'm talking 15, 16, over 20 inches. I think, Butch, did you have your flounder this year?
No, I didn't have them for that. I caught 5 flounder for Trout Challenge. 5
flounder for Trout Challenge. I mean, I caught a flounder. I don't know. Breck, did you end up having one?
No, I Thursday scouting, I caught a 17.5. Friday, I catch an 18.5. Saturday, I get over there and I hook a real good one and I lost it. I lost 2 flounder for the tournament.
Yeah.
It was one of those days. It just didn't connect.
Yeah, but boy, I tell you what, seeing those flounder come in, it was crazy because we had the moratorium because there was supposedly a decrease in the number of flounder catches, And this was one of the best years ever that I can remember for flounder, at least in the last few years at a Paddlepalooza or Grand Isle. So it was a really good year. May 6th, the flounder should really be moving. Hopefully the trout will be in, or at least along the coast. Obviously the redfish will be there. Going to be down at Bridgeside. It's going to be a good time. So May 6th, everybody, mark your calendars now.
A little bit later than we typically do Paddlepalooza. I think as long as the weather cooperates a little bit with us, the fishing that weekend is going to be awesome.
It's awesome. It's going to be awesome. Epic. Okay, this one. We did this one for the first time last year, and it was a surprise success. There was a lot of concern that maybe it was a holiday weekend. We wouldn't have a whole lot of people. Aside from Minimalist, this was our second, I think, best attended event last year. The Dawn to Dusk CPS tournament. It'll be a trout, redfish, flounder statewide. You get to start in the morning when the sun comes up, and you get to end when the sun goes down. You can go home. You can take a nap. You can move from Grand Isle to Hopedale. And I am telling you right now, I was shocked where the wedding stringers came from. I thought for sure Lake Charles was going to take it. Big Lake, Prion Lake. I mean, the flounder was so thick over there. And we know Danny fished the Hopedale Dam all day long for 12-something hours. And he took it. He took everything there. Benton Parrott, I think, took second. Fishing down Highway 23 of all places. I couldn't, my mind couldn't fathom how I drove 3.5 hours to Lake Charles when I could have driven 45 minutes in to either location.
You'd never know.
We had a great time, though.
We did. We had a great time. We caught a lot of flounder down there.
A ton of flounder. More flounder than anything else.
Flounder were plentiful, but it's just the redfish. I couldn't catch a redfish over 20 inches that day.
Same.
I caught a redfish. I caught a perfect redfish. I sight casted him in a small canal. He was 26 3/4, I think. Couldn't catch a trout. And at that point, I gave up because I knew it was a long drive back. And then I get a phone call from Benjamin Day. Where you at? The trout just exploded. And it's like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And they were out at what's that one spot out there? A lot of people fish out there, Butch.
Old Camp Canal?
No. It's a kind of a lake.
Lake?
What's that?
In Prion?
No, it wasn't Prion. It was, anyways, it was one of those lakes that it gets.
No, West Cove. They were in the middle
West
of
Cove.
West
They
Cove.
were West Cove, right. They were West Cove.
Out in the very middle.
In the very middle, and all of a sudden the trout bite just turned on. It just turned on. So this is Memorial Day weekend. It's a 3-day weekend. So it lines up for a lot of people that are going to be fishing anyway, because you can fish this tournament, and it's also the opening weekend of the CCA Star Tournament. So you can get out there and you can double up on both tournaments. This is the only one where you will not be required to attend an award ceremony. The other catch photo release tournaments, there will be an award ceremony. You will have to attend in person in order to get AOY points or to win the money. This will be the only one, because it's statewide, where you won't have to attend. So, okay. This is the big surprise. You know what? No, we're going to skip it. We're going to go back to that one. Okay. We're going to go back to that. Okay, so the next one in the series, the championship series, Redfish Rumble, September 30th. Again, this will be a CPS tournament. Initially, I was going to put it somewhere else. I'll be honest with you. I fell in love with Coco Marina and the restaurant and the bar and everything over there. And I said, you know what? I want to have another tournament here next year where we can all hang out. The award ceremony will likely not be at Coco Marina because it's just kind of out of the way for a lot of people. We're going to try to find a place on the way out where people basically do large, Coco Pack, maybe somewhere in Homa where we can get together, and I'll talk to some people. And if anybody has a good suggestion where we can do that, would be great.
Kalen, that right now.
What's that?
I talked to Kalen Sunday evening, and he's going to be checking on. He's looking into an area we could do that at.
That would be fantastic. So There's a couple of places that some guys told me about with some big reds. Butch, I think you mentioned a place or two to me, or a place. I might want to go check it out. Not too far from Coco Marina. I plan on probably getting down there Thursday night so I can pre-fish Friday, and then just hang out and have a good time Thursday and Friday night over at Coco Marina. It's a great place to hang out. It'll probably be like the official hangout place, more or less, even though we won't have the award ceremony there. So Redfish Rumble, September 30th, 2023. Then we go on to our next tournament, obviously Fall and Tide. Jonathan, I think that was the date we all decided, October 14th.
Yep.
October 14th, back at Delta Marina. Highway 23 should be a really good time. Delta Marina has been great to us the last couple of tournaments we've done over there. The food in the restaurant's great. The accommodations are great. It's kind of a central location if you want to go north, if you want to go south. Not to mention Mitch Jurich, that's over there, has really helped us out with tables, tents, chairs. All that stuff usually costs the club about $1,500, and that comes out of payouts. That's money we're able to put back into our, the anglers who register for that tournament. And mid-October should be a good time, depending on the weather and the river levels will kind of dictate. This tournament is always about the trout, I think, in my opinion. Jonathan, would you agree with that? Because the river levels really dictate kind of where those trout are going to be.
Yeah, you could kind of maybe luck into a real big flounder, but I think strategy-wise, prioritizing trout usually plays pretty well.
Yeah. Our last tournament of the year is the championship, obviously. So I'm tired of fishing in shitty weather. You don't know. I mean, this weekend I'm in shorts. I'm in shorts today. I'm in shorts today and a short sleeve shirt. It's gonna be in the 60s this weekend. Last weekend we're in the 40s. I'm trying to avoid it, so I moved it up to November 4th. We're gonna decide the location. It hasn't been decided yet. We'll announce it before the end of the year. What I want to do is try to get a better type weather, hopefully. But also, I know the date we normally been doing has been opening day of deer season. And I know we have a number of members that hunt. And so I want to try to get it out of that to where they can do both. I don't want someone to have to miss something that they're passionate for, because I understand once you shoot a gun, the deer freak out and you can't see them ever again. So the other 4 months of deer season are worthless other than that opening day. At least that's what Brock tells me. So, Brock, November 4th, I'm setting it for you. You better qualify and attend. And if y'all were wondering why Minimalist was on January 28th and not the 21st, it had nothing to do with Brendan's cousin's wife's sister's cousin's wedding on the 28th, on the 21st. Luke Westland's wife, her birthday is the 21st. So I said, all right, Luke, I'll do you this solid. We're going to move it. He's a judge. You're in a ticket in that one parish he's in. He can't help you there because that would be illegal, but he is a judge, and I respect my judges. All right, so that is the full schedule, except for the very first out-of-state, worst-kept secret in Bayou Coast history, because I can't keep my mouth shut, tournament, Offshore Mania, June 24th, 2023, Navarre, Florida. We will be doing a shotgun launch off the beach in Navarre for red snapper, mahi, cobia, kings, Spanish, sailfish, anything you can eat, not Jack Creval's, Aaron Clay. All right, there will be no Jack's weighed-in at this tournament. That has to be edible, and we will list the fish that you'll be able to weigh in. It'll basically be any legal fish that'll be out, because there's a couple of different types of snappers you can catch out there. We are going to do a bunch of off the waters before then, because we want safety first. We want people to be prepared. We want them to know what they're going to expect, and also techniques, gear you need. If you are looking for something for Christmas, you haven't made that list yet, and you're wondering what to tell your wife because you got all the inshore gear you get, tell her you want a snapper reel. You know, you want a snapper rod and reel. You can go to Academy, you go to Cabela's, a Bass, go to a nice snapper reel, not a marlin reel. You don't need nothing too big, but something to bring in a 20, 25-pound snapper because that's what we're catching. Jonathan, your wife, last year, same weekend, what happened? Y'all were out there that same weekend in early July.
Yeah, my sister-in-law, my wife, and I went kayak fishing with Brandon Barton, and we had pretty much wrapped up the day. We were heading back. My sister-in-law got pretty sick on the kayak, and we were maybe a couple hundred yards off the beach, and we're going in, and some flying fish kicked up, and Brandon said, "Oh man, that's pretty cool. Maybe there's some pelagics around." And my sister-in-law just kept heading for the beach. I said, "Hey, just go ahead, go with her, make sure she's all right." I go in with my wife. She still had a rod in the back trolling when we were heading in, and all of a sudden I saw a rod tip just kind of, and then the reel started screaming, and we figured it was probably just a kingfish or something like that. We had caught some earlier that morning, and then Brandon turned around, and the same time I turned around, a giant sailfish came up out of the water and tail walked about 50 yards, and I immediately pulled up my phone, started trying to video record. Brandon went over there, helped her, fought the fish for a little while. It ended up breaking off, but it was just crazy to see that in a kayak. I mean, she was freaking out.
I guess so.
Wow.
If you have, and so look, a lot of people are thinking, geez, I've never offshore fished before. I've never, this is how easy it is. You need about 2 rods. You need a hook, some leader, a weight, and sometimes you don't even need weight, dead bait, and then the numbers are public. Basically, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles off the beach by the Navarre Fishing Pier, they have about 20 to 30 artificial reefs they've done. And when you go over them, and you got the numbers, when you go over them, you can tell on your depth finder when you're going over one of those reefs. It's just a big cone that comes out of nowhere. And those fish are either right on it or right off of it. You put a piece of cigar minnow on there, dead. You drop it down, wait for it to hit, crank it up a few cranks, wham. My first time going without a guide this year, we had about 10 of us go down there. I caught 8 snapper. I didn't even have the public points. I went up with Aaron Clay. He brought us to the general area, and then I just kind of circled around looking on my depth finder for structure or a reef. And we had an absolute blast. I got separated from the group. I ran into 2 other guys. All of a sudden, I hear him say, "Mahi." And I turn around. A school of mahi are jumping out the water. So I grab a rod with some dead bait, fling it over there. I hook up on them, right away. So I end up coming home with 2 red snapper, I think a yellow snapper, and a mahi. And but there's also, you drop down there. There's cobia. There's triggerfish. I know Ben caught a triggerfish. I know Tiffany was out there. She caught 3 or 4 snappers. So it's not complicated. It's not rocket science. There's going to be people out there to help. We're going to be fishing in groups. I think one of the requirements I'm going to add or strongly recommend is that when you go out, you're going to have to pair up with somebody. It's not going to be a team tournament, but you're going to want to pair up with somebody. You're going to want to fish with somebody in case you fall off the kayak. You can have someone help you back in. So just so everybody knows, for this tournament, it's scheduled for that Saturday, June 23rd. If the weather's too rough, we will have an alternate day for June 24th. So plan accordingly. That's Sunday. Obviously, if both days are too rough, then we'll have to cancel it. But plan on being there probably through that Monday. I think I'm going to book something up there that Wednesday through Monday. I think, Jonathan, we talked about doing a big beach house down there. And it's going to be a big party. It's going to be a big party. This tournament does not count towards Angler of the Year. You do not get points for fishing this tournament. However, we may throw in a few championship qualification spots for the winners. That's something we're still working on. Obviously, we'll have some payouts. It'll be a little bit higher than normal. You're probably looking at about $100 entry fee, just because people are coming down, hopefully with some money. I hope to see a lot of you guys there. If we can get 20 members from Bayou Coast down there, I think we'll pick up another 20 from the local guys, the Florida, the Alabama. So we'll have 40 to 50 guys out there. It should be a really good time. There's a couple of really nice restaurants and bars right across the street. We'll probably have the award ceremony that night after we do the weigh-in. If you've never been there, so the way it's set up, there's some nice pavilions, big parking lot. There's a wooden deck that'll take you straight to the beach. From there, maybe 50 yards to the beach, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's not far.
It's not far. And what I'm going to try to do is get some guys from the local football team out there to help, and we can tip them. It's a fundraiser essentially, because walking across that sand, by the time you get back in, you're going to be whooped. You will not realize how whooped you will be coming in. And we'll have people out there to help launch and coming in. So don't discourage that. We're going to have a lot of seminars coming up for that. The things we haven't announced. Yeah, the things we haven't announced yet are we'll have a family day next year. I think, Jonathan, right?
Yep. Me and Tyler will be defending our cornhole championship.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe we'll try to get something a little bit centrally located, maybe in Baton Rouge, Gonzales. Probably we'll also do something again at the Backpacker. I think we did a nice crawfish boil last year for their spring fail. All right. We're coming up on 8:30. Jonathan, I think you mentioned to me earlier we were having some problems running the names for the raffle, so we'll have to delay that for another week or so. Was that right?
No, I got it. We're good.
No, I thought you told me we're going to have to delay it. I didn't.
Well,
I was waiting to the end.
I'll tell you this. I'll share my screen and we'll try to do it. I don't know if the internet's going to cooperate with us out here. I see some of the comments over there. Yeah, I've been trying to reach Breck about his extended kayak warranty, but I couldn't get a hold of him before the championship. So
just so you guys know, the Native Slayer was donated courtesy of Pack and Paddle, who put it and Native. And initially, what we were doing was we were giving it to the champion of the Bayou Coast tournament at the championship series. This year, we decided to do something a little different. For everybody who entered a tournament, they got one free raffle ticket with the opportunity to buy an extra raffle ticket. So we kind of wanted to give everybody who entered a tournament a chance to win a brand new kayak. Most guys who win the championship probably already have a nice kayak. Ryan, I'm sure you have a Hobie. I can see it behind me. So you have the Hobie.
Like a couple Hobies.
Belt. I know Wade is probably crying right now, missing that belt. He was very proud. Ryan, we want to see you wearing that belt at all the Lafayette Club tournaments and saying, "This is how you do it, boys." Right here. I took their shit away from them.
We got the Christmas party coming up next month, so it's going to be
there. You go. And for those of you guys in New Orleans, I'll be announcing a location for our little Christmas party here in the New Orleans Metairie area. And obviously, anybody from in the club's welcome to attend, paid or not paid. I'll try to get that set up here in the next week or so. So, Jonathan, what can you do? What can you show us here?
All right. I'm going to share my screen with y'all. Let's see. Let me know if y'all can see it, if it pops up.
Oh, I got to add it. Hang on.
All right. So what we did is like Sean said, we compiled a list of all the anglers, and if you purchased your extra ticket, so Chris Cox, you could see he got one for his normal registration for minimalist, and one because he bought the extra one. Looks like Breck only got the normal one for minimalist.
Yeah, Breck.
So we'll scroll down. We got 511 total chances.
Man, I could use a new native.
And all the way.
I'm calling shenanigans
Bear
at
with me
Francis
for a second.
wins.
It takes a little bit.
I will be filing an official written protest if Francis wins.
I meant to check that earlier. I think he only has maybe one or two chances in here. So if he wins, I don't know. Maybe we'll just redo it.
Just so y'all know, we ran a test run earlier, and Francis freaking won.
What?
So y'all know.
All right. Let's see. Did a test wrong.
You could also just do a random number generator and pick the number that shows up.
Which one was it? There it is.
Can we spin the wheel?
No, that one kept freezing up on me whenever I was trying it earlier. Okay, so we have all the names with which it was for. And I'm going to pick one random name. I look in Academy ad. They know I've been shopping. I'm going to pick one random name, and whoever's name it is walks away with the kayak.
Come on.
Y'all ready?
Pick my name.
8:30 on the dot.
Who the hell's Ryan?
Can y'all see it?
Gogay? Who's Ryan Gogay?
I misspelled my last name.
No, it's not.
Is that Ryan Gogay? I don't even know if this
I wonder
person
if that
exists.
was a. Let's see real quick. Trout challenge. Ooh, he had one ticket for trout challenge. That was it. Woo.
That's my name.
All right.
Is that even a real person? I've never heard of a Ryan Gogay. Right. I think Ryan Goday is saying Ryan Goday, but I see Ryan Gogay.
That could be a typo. Let me I'm gonna go back and double check that, and if we run into any problems, we'll pick somebody else. But I think that might be.
I think we should pick somebody else.
I think that's Ryan Goday.
Hang on, let me check Trout Challenge. That was on Tourney X, wasn't it?
Yes.
All right, let me check real quick. Tournament name.
That's got to be Ryan Goday.
Pretty sure it is.
All right, let's see here.
The
Trout Challenge.
Suspense continues.
We had a Ryan Goday, Gaudet, and
just so everyone's aware, I imported all these lists from.
We did not have
website.
a Ryan Gogay, so it would be
That's Ryan
Goday, who owns Spars, who's been kind enough to help us out and been providing some food for us at the championship. He was the one that provided the gumbo at the championship and also the pasta at Fallen Tide. So Ryan apparently is the winner of the brand new Native Slayer. Wow. The raffle king has fallen. Francis Tran is no more. It's like Alabama losing to LSU.
Well, hold on. There's a couple people saying stuff about the multiple names. So the multiple names, guys, that is every tournament you signed up, you got a pick, and then you had the option to purchase a second pick per tournament. And the picker, I guess I'll show my screen again, just so everybody's clear. Pull it back up, Sean.
Yep.
So it does not eliminate the double picks, but as you can see, like right here, Mark Eubanks is listed twice for minimalist. That's his original registration pick, and then he opted to pay and get an additional pick.
Hey Ryan, I think you're on there. On watch the webcast right now. What type of kayak are you in right now? If you could maybe just type it on the comments. Maybe it could be an upgrade. Maybe not. I mean, if it's a Jackson, it's got to be an upgrade. Oh, he's in a Hobie P812. All right. Well, I mean, look, that Native for your wife, might be good. I don't know what she's in, but all right, guys, it's been an hour and 4 minutes. We did pretty good. This has been a great year. Just want to mention real quick, next weekend, a week from Saturday, if you guys are still wanting to get in on a little something, Swamp Country Kayak Bass Association, the official bass chapter of Louisiana, is having their championship, state championship. It's the official bass championship for Louisiana. It's going to be on Caney Creek. It's open to anyone. Get with me if you have questions about the registration. You can register on Tourney X. We've got 14 people, should have a bunch more register before then. It's going to be on Jimmy Davis State Park. It's going to be a really good time. We're going to be cooking out there. We're going to be drinking. Figure kind of a Fallen Tide Patapalooza, a little bit smaller scale. Good payouts, though. Top 10% qualify for the Bassmaster National Championship. That's going to be taking place in March in Nashville, Jonathan? Is it Nashville?
It's at Lake Chickamauga. I don't know where the headquarters is.
Yeah, Lake Chickamauga. It's going to be in Tennessee. So it's going to be over there. That's going to be an awesome tournament. So come out and join us. The bass fishing should be really good. That lake has produced 6 of the top 10 largest bass caught in Louisiana, all topping the scales at 15 pounds. This is where Jordan Lee had a 5-fish stringer over 32 pounds, I think. He caught a couple of 8s and a 7.
There were multiple 30-pound bags, I think, that day.
Yeah, so an incredible date. Jerry, the date for Minimalist Challenge is January 28th. And we'll be posting the full schedule here probably tomorrow or the next day, given the Thanksgiving holiday. So, again, congratulations to our winners, to Ryan, to Derek, to Breck, to Josh, to Butch. Brian, yeah, everybody who won. It's been a great year. I'm already excited about next year. I just got to get this bass tournament out of my hands. And look, this won't be our last off the water. We're going to do one probably next year, next month. Just touch a base on next year. Swamp Country, we're going to follow up on that championship, figure out what's going on with that and what happened there. Also, Swamp Country is going to be having a tournament mid-January, I think, over in Baton Rouge area or close to Baton Rouge that we'll announce then. So, all right, guys. It was great to see you. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. Congratulations, Ryan, on your brand new Native Slayer kayak. We'll get with you about delivery and when that's going to be in. I think it's a camouflage, isn't it, Jonathan?
Yep.
The camouflage color? Yeah, camouflage.
Yeah, I think it's that gray camo.
Yeah, so we should be good. All right, guys. Have a great night. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.
Later, y'all.